Breaking news out of Northeast Baltimore, deadly triple shooting. What we know about the incident and the plea from the police commissioner.
He was everything. Right when I heard that he died, I shut down.
A Baltimore City community coming together tonight to honor the 17-year-old murdered in Towson last week. How he's being remembered while county officials work to make sure it doesn't happen again. And lawmakers in Annapolis will hear a few bills aimed at juvenile justice this week. What to expect as the new Secretary for Juvenile Services faces criticism.
Live from WBFF in Baltimore, this is Fox 45 News at 10.
And good evening, everybody. I'm Mary Bubala. We begin tonight with breaking news in Northeast Baltimore. One person is dead, two others hurt after a shooting tonight. It happened around 6 along Bowleys Lane. Police say an officer working in the area heard gunshots and ran to the scene. Authorities say the officer saw a person firing shots, but that person got away. Police say it is not clear if that person was the one who shot the other three people or if he was firing back at somebody else. Police Commissioner Michael Harrison urging anybody with information on this shooting to come forward.
Now we have this incident where one is dead and two are injured, simply because people want to solve their conflicts with gunfire. That is why it's so imperative, so important, so critical that members of this community, people who live and were out here, give us a call right away, or you can do it anonymously.
You can leave an anonymous tip by calling Metro Crime Stoppers, the number right there on your screen, 1-866-7-LOCK-UP. Well, just 30 minutes after that triple shooting, another man was shot and killed along Edgewood Avenue in southwest Baltimore. At least 41 people have lost their lives to violence in Baltimore City so far this year. Well, nearly 1 week after a 17-year-old Baltimore City student was shot and killed in Towson, he is being remembered tonight. The community gathered for a vigil in his honor. Fox 45's Vincent Hill was at that vigil. He joins us live now with more on that and what's being done to curb the violence in Towson, including security cameras. Vincent?
Yeah, Mary, that vigil, very emotional, and it happened just up the hill a week ago tomorrow. But one police expert says cameras are not the end-all, be-all when it comes to fighting crime.
Candles, balloons, tears, and stolen dreams.
He was everything.
Trayshawn Harmon's brother grieving.
Right when I heard that he died, I shut down.
Tonight, a vigil honoring the 17-year-old boy shot and killed in Towson last Monday.
We have had some unfortunate, tragic incidents that have happened, but we want to prove that that's the anomaly.
A recent rash of crimes has Towson residents fearing that anomaly is becoming a reality.
That's where this town is heading, unfortunately, and it's supposed to be a nice college and a nice town.
Trayshawn's murder last Monday, a shooting Super Bowl Sunday, and several sexual assaults last month. Baltimore County Police Chief Dennis Delp says he has a plan.
Using technologies like a license plate reader, additional cameras, and that they may be covert or non-covert cameras in the area to assist with deterrence and apprehension purposes.
Part of that plan already in place, according to Nancy Harford with the Towson Chamber of Commerce.
Over the last several months, we've added 50 new cameras to 50 buildings. There's over 95% of the cameras are in the businesses in the Towson area.
But do cameras and license plate readers work as a deterrent against crime?
I don't think that's going to make people feel safe. That doesn't make me feel safe looking up and just seeing a camera.
Law enforcement analyst Melissa Pinkleton says no. Pinkleton pointing out cameras themselves are not the best eyewitness.
First of all, they have to be angled and shooting at the right particular vantage point of the crime that you're looking for.
She says even if cameras do capture a crime, it does not guarantee it will lead to a suspect.
People will sit there and think about the movies or, that CSI effect of, oh, it's on camera. They're going to have that pixelated to the and it's going to be perfect and they're going to be able, it's going to be crisp and clean. And it's not.
Pinkleton says the data shows criminals don't fear cameras.
There are more cameras out there in this country right now between pole cameras from police departments, security cameras from buildings, Ring cameras. There are more out there in this country right now than there ever have been. And our crime numbers are higher than they have been in years.
And speaking of cameras, Baltimore County Police are still searching for video to lead to Trayshawn's killer. Meanwhile, Pinkleton says more boots on the ground are the true deterrent to crime. According to the police union, Baltimore County Police are short 200 officers. For now, we're live in Towson. Vincent Hill, Fox 45 News.
Vincent, thanks. Fox 45 News has been following the violence in Towson for weeks. You can find all of our past reporting on our website, foxbaltimore.com. A big week ahead in Baltimore City. Tomorrow, City Councilman Robert Stokes will introduce a resolution to call on lawmakers in Annapolis to bring the Baltimore Police Department under the city's control immediately. On Tuesday, the Baltimore Collegiate School for Boys could finally learn its fate after weeks of uncertainty. And on Wednesday, the Board of Estimates will hear more about the mayor's controversial conduit deal with BGE as the city's comptroller maintains the mayor's vote to approve it earlier has no legal standing. We're taking a closer look at what to expect when it comes to all three issues. Now, we begin with that resolution Councilman Stokes will introduce tomorrow. City voters approved a charter amendment to move the department from state to local control in November. But that has not happened yet. The Local Control Advisory Board in charge of the transition is proposing a longer timeline for the change that could take another year. Many city council members say they want to move faster.
Don't think we should do is further delay the transfer of legislative authority to the Baltimore City Council.
The law department says right now no one has legislative authority over BPD. Then on Tuesday, the Baltimore City School Board set to decide the fate of the Baltimore Collegiate School for Boys. The school is at risk of losing its charter over what the school calls technicalities. City School CEO Dr. Sonia Santelises is recommending the school stay open, saying it has improved. Now, despite that, the board could not reach a decision during a meeting last week. Supporters are urging the board to keep the school open.
They have a faculty that really cares strongly about them. They have many young Black professionals in the school building, which is unfortunately a rarity across the system. Our schools are not turning around overnight. We have dozens of schools in Baltimore City, for example, 23 schools that no one is at proficiency in math.
Former Councilman Carl Stokes referring to the report from Project Baltimore that shows of the students tested, not a single one is performing at grade level in math at 23 Baltimore City public schools. And then on Wednesday, the mayor's controversial conduit deal with BGE is back on the Board of Estimates agenda. The mayor approved the conduit deal at the Board of Estimates meeting earlier this month without two members of the board, City Comptroller Bill Henry and City Council President Nick Mosby. They were trying to stop the vote by doing that. Now, voters also seem to be against the conduit deal. In November, city residents voted overwhelmingly to block the sale or transfer of the conduit system. That is the second time in recent months city leaders seem to ignore the will of the people. 72% of voters also approved term limits for local elected leaders in November. But Councilman Ryan Dorsey quickly introduced a plan that would put the issue back on the ballot in 2024, asking voters to repeal the charter amendment. Political analyst John Deedy calls those two examples a slap in the face to voters.
I think it shows a little bit of tone deafness, the fact that, the voters are saying one thing. And generally, when you're elected, the idea is you listen to what the majority of voters want to say. And I think that when you choose to not listen to the people who are electing you, it increases only the possibilities of you being seen as out of touch and maybe out of office within a short period of time.
Well, we want to know what you think. Are city leaders respecting the will of the voters? So far, 97% of voters say no. Head to foxbaltimore.com/vote and click on the Pulse tab to weigh in. On Thursday, lawmakers in Annapolis will hear a few different bills regarding juvenile crime, two from Democrats, two from Republicans. Now, one of those bills from Democrats is the Youth Accountability and Safety Act. Basically, that bill would prevent anybody under the age of 25 from being charged with felony murder. The House will also hear the Democrats' Youth and Safety Act, and that would end the practice of automatically charging juveniles as adults in serious crimes like murder. Republicans are backing two bills that would crack down on juvenile offenders. One of them, the Juvenile Gun Offenses Accountability Act of 2023, would allow children accused of gun crimes to be charged as long as they are at least 10 years old. Now, the other bill seeks to make changes to the state's juvenile justice law, which prevents children under the age of 13 from being charged with any crime. That bill would change the threshold from 13 to 11 years old. Meanwhile, the state's new Juvenile Services Secretary is facing scrutiny for some of his recent comments. Fox 45's Taylor Stewart explains.
As counties across the state grapple with juvenile crime, there's one long-used punishment that the new head of Department of Juvenile Services says isn't even working.
One of the two things probation and parole are supposed to do is keep us safer. Parole made us less safer. Probation had no impact.
That's Maryland's new head of juvenile services. Governor Moore's pick, Vincent Schiraldi, confirmed just last week. While speaking to students from Harvard's Kennedy School of Criminal Justice, Schiraldi pointed to research that suggests probation and parole have little to no effect in preventing further crime.
Right now, because they have so many cases, it's just a watchdog. And he's right, it's not working, but it doesn't mean you want to eliminate something that's not working. You may actually want to fix it.
Law enforcement expert Tyrone Powers says Schiraldi is casting a light on long-used criminal consequences that he agrees do not appear to be slowing criminals down. He says it's not time to get rid of the entire parole and probation system, though.
Probation and parole in its current status and the way it's functioning now is not working. And we know that because of the recidivism rates and then the crime that we're seeing on the streets with juveniles participating in crime.
And falling victim to it. Police are looking for the persons involved in the murder of 17-year-old Trayshawn Harmon. Monday, he was walking nearby the Towson town circle when he was approached by a group and shot multiple times, according to police. Powers says the state is entering a crucial time period, and right now is the time for the DJS and local agencies to set a standard for the punishment of juvenile crime.
We have 80,000 students in the school system, knowing that we're moving very quickly and expeditiously towards the end of the school year, where they will be on the streets. So the intervention should take place now. Whatever we're doing to convince them that there are consequences for their actions, whatever we're doing to dissuade them from their actions, whatever we're doing to intervene in young people who have households that are not conducive for living and learning or for changing their behavior should be put in place right now.
Taylor Stewart, Fox 45 News.
Well, Fox 45 News will continue to follow proposed cuts to the state's Boost program in the week ahead. It provides scholarships to low-income families to send their students to private or charter schools. Governor Wes Moore is looking to cut $2 million from the program, saying he doesn't want to see public dollars go to private schools. While many Democrats are in favor of phasing out the Boost program, Senate President Bill Ferguson seems open to funding it.
In the nearly $7.5 billion that we spend on public education, $10 million on the Boost program doesn't seem like a heck of a lot. So, I think there's reason to think that we can do both and not just either or.
If you want to contact your area lawmakers about crime, education, or any other issues, point your phone's camera at the QR code right there on your screen. It'll take you to our website where we have listed official email and phone numbers of your state senators and delegates. A judge ruling on the grand jury report on child sex abuse within the Archdiocese of Baltimore, the decision and what it means going forward.
As the rest of the world has pulled away from Russia economically, China has consistently stepped in to help. I'm Christine Frizzell with growing concerns military assistance could be next.
And our frenetic temperatures continue to go all over the place. 38 with a trace of snow yesterday. Today, 56 and sun. We're back on the cold side again tomorrow. I'm going to let you know if it comes with more snow in my Weather Authority forecast.
A judge is ordering the release of a redacted version of a grand jury investigation into child sex abuse within the Archdiocese of Baltimore. The report names 600 victims dating back to the 1940s and more than 150 priests. Survivors have been pushing to have the report released for months, and Attorney General Anthony Brown says he will work quickly to turn the report over to the courts. An anonymous group of people named in the report has been fighting its release. Their legal efforts funded by the Archdiocese. Tonight, the U.S. and the EU have announced a new round of sanctions against Russia as its war with Ukraine has passed the one-year mark. 1 year ago, the West unveiled sanctions that were supposed to eventually cripple Russia's economy, but that didn't happen largely due to economic support from China. As national correspondent Christine Frizzell reports, there are new warnings military support may be next.
As the war in Ukraine enters its second year, a warning from the West. Military help for Russia may be on the way.
We're confident that the Chinese leadership is considering the provision of lethal equipment. We also don't see that a final decision has been made yet, and we don't see evidence of actual shipments of lethal equipment.
Experts see far-reaching implications of a President Xi Jinping testing the waters.
The fact that they're going to meet next week, Chairman Xi and Putin, to discuss this unholy alliance that they have to put weapons into Ukraine, to me is very disturbing because while it may be Ukraine today, it's going to be Taiwan tomorrow.
As far as a meeting or call between President Biden and President Xi, there's nothing scheduled as of now. Instead, a not-so-veiled threat should China act.
Beijing will have to make its own decisions about how it proceeds, whether it provides military assistance. But if it goes down that road, it will come at real cost to China.
Those potential costs, though, come as China has faced very little blowback for its financial support of Russia this past year, purchasing more and more oil and gas as the European Union has cut itself off in hopes of trying to avoid providing more funding for the war.
While much of the world has worked to cut off support to Russia, China has kept Russia's economy afloat, as detailed in a new report from the Center for Strategic and International Studies, finding while the economic measures from the West are slowly bleeding the Russian economy, they are unlikely to deliver a knockout blow. Instead, there is growing evidence the war will be won or lost, not as a result of what happens in the oil fields, but only because of what happens on the battlefield. I'm Christine Frizzell reporting.
Well, our area saw some roller coaster weather last week. On the left, video from Hamden on Thursday showing people enjoying the record-breaking heat. I think we got to 79 degrees. On the right, video from yesterday when much of our area saw snow flurries, a big change in just 48 hours. Let's get right to Chief Meteorologist Jonathan Myers for a look at what we should expect this week. I don't know. What is Mother Nature going to throw at us?
Throw your hands up, right?
Right.
38 for a high yesterday after 79. What is like a 40, 41 degree temperature change over just about 48 hours. And then today back into the 50s at 56. So the HD radar showing some snow off to our north, if you wouldn't believe it. Yeah, why not put some snow out there in northern New York State, where I guess it's a little more expected. But around here, it's just the continued winter without a winter. Now, we take a look out to the west, and you'll see there actually is, as we zoom out a little bit and push off to the west, there is another weather maker here that has a lot of rain, a lot of thunder with it, a lot of lightning, tornado watches, severe thunderstorm watches. That is moving eastbound, and I think we're going to get a piece of some of that action. Maybe not tornadoes and severe thunderstorms, but some rain and some cold rain, too, by later tomorrow. Tomorrow late in the day, tomorrow afternoon, and tomorrow night. 45 degrees, winds out of the west-southwest at 3 miles an hour right now. A wind chill, little one, at 44. Mile 1 Towson Kim looking nice and quiet. High temperatures today again getting into the mid to upper 50s, even some 60s along the spine of the Blue Ridge Mountains. Now, you take a look here, and what you notice is that overnight does get chillier. Temperatures in the 40s, even some 30s. So as we head into tomorrow, we're going to kind of get into this little arc of colder air as that next weather maker moves in. So it's going to be a cold rain that we're expecting, and maybe even a little brief period of sleet or snow well north of the Beltway. It doesn't look like a whole lot here, but wouldn't be totally surprised. And there's a warmer weather that's down to the south. That probably gets involved by the middle and end of the week. So let's plan things out. Future scan through 5:45 a.m. through 8 a.m. tomorrow morning. It's quiet, but then that rain develops during the afternoon. By 2:30 as you're picking up the kids from school. Look at those temperatures. They're only in the 40s, maybe even some upper 30s as that rain comes down hard tomorrow evening. Maybe again, north of the Beltway, there could be at least a brief period of some snow or sleet, kind of wet snowflakes mixing in. And then it's just plain old rain overnight before that tapers the wee hours of early Tuesday morning. And you wake up chilly before things begin to warm up once again beyond that. Now, in terms of any snow accumulation, doesn't look like much. It could be on a car top or two, or maybe on some of the grassy surfaces, or it could be 1/10 of an inch, 2/10 of an inch. That would be north if you get some of that snow mixing in tomorrow late afternoon and evening. So 32 clear skies tonight, 47 tomorrow, PM rain. Again, there could be that brief period of sleet or snow mixed in, wet snow really well north. And then 59 on Tuesday, 58 Wednesday, 68 Thursday, and then chills down again into next weekend.
Jonathan, thank you. The cleanup in Ohio will restart tomorrow, weeks after a freight train derailed there. What to expect as the cleanup continues and why it was forced to stop.
Martin Luther King stated in his lifetime that the next paradigm beyond the civil rights movement is economic empowerment. We have been so involved with crisis in the classroom about crime and education and poverty and the structural damages to families. Dr. King had a point. Until we lift these tides of boats in the economic space, not much will change. So join us this Monday, February 27th, from 7 to 8 p.m. at Hubel Memorial Facilities, where we will discuss economic opportunity, entrepreneurial advantages, and how people can finally begin to realize that they too can also share in the American dream of economic prosperity. Join me, Armstrong Williams, your moderator, and our very special guest.
Cleanup efforts are set to restart this week in East Palestine, Ohio. The EPA says Norfolk Southern will continue removing contaminated soil and liquid from the derailment site tomorrow. The agency previously ordered the rail company to pause the disposal process after officials from Texas and Michigan complained about the materials being sent to their states. The contaminants are now being transferred to EPA-approved facilities.
It means the cleanup can continue at a rapid pace. As I said yesterday, we owe it to East Palestine and residents nearby to move waste out of the community as quickly as possible. And that's exactly what we're working to do.
As of today, cleanup crews have collected nearly 2 million gallons of liquid waste and roughly 5,000 cubic yards of solid waste from the crash site. The U.S. Energy Department believes the COVID pandemic likely originated from a lab leak. That's according to the Wall Street Journal reporting, citing a classified intelligence report recently provided to the White House and key members of Congress. The department was previously undecided on how the virus emerged, but they now join the FBI in saying it likely spread via a mishap at a Chinese lab. 4 other U.S. agencies, as well as a national intelligence panel, believe the virus was the result of natural transmission. Well, still ahead, a birthday celebration at the B&O Railroad Museum, how it's making learning so much fun. But first, growing tension between the U.S. and China, a look at what some are calling a power play from the country in America's backyard. China has become a growing focus of U.S. scrutiny, whether it's the communist nation's role in the pandemic, its spying on the U.S., or its control of the supply chain. Now, Full Measure's Scott Thuman reports from South America on China's major power play in America's backyard.
In Colombia's capital of Bogota, they are digging deep to create the city's first metro system. An economic boost, to be certain, in a country where unemployment hovers around 14%. But take a closer look at those shiny new rail cars, and you'll see who is helping with all that hiring. The train is Chinese, and so are the companies that won the bids on the $4.5 billion deal to build the metro's first line. Between 1990 and 2009, investment from China to all of Latin America was about $7 billion. But since 2005, it has soared to more than $130 billion. China has a lot of money.
Yeah,
What do you think is their motivation?
like China wants to come and help and invest here in those because they know maybe there are not other countries that can do as much as they can do.
Closer to the U.S., another growing concern at the Panama Canal. Busy as ever, it has become another strategic target of China's, investing heavily in recent years.
Here in Panama, you can really see it. On one side of the water, you've got the Panamanian port. Directly across and competing with it, the Chinese port. The concern is that the larger presence China has here, the more control it also has.
Chinese companies now manage ports at both ends of the canal.
There are always these worries that if China has a footprint, it may also eventually have a military footprint, or it may have control over transit. It may have control over communications. Is that a legitimate worry?
I think it's a legitimate worry decades from now. Geopolitically speaking, they're making moves, and they're giving signs of growing importance to Latin America, and the U.S. is not.
The question now, will China's deep pockets and ravenous reach go unmatched, or serve as a wake-up call for America? For Full Measure, I'm Scott Thuman at the Panama Canal.
And you can watch Full Measure Sundays on Fox 45 at 10 a.m. Well, in front of a sold-out crowd at the Xfinity Center, the Terps kept their Big Ten home winning streak alive. We are breaking down Maryland's victory over Northwestern ahead on Sports Unlimited. Baltimore's B&O Railroad Museum is celebrating its 196th birthday. It's celebrated with a big party today featuring cake, of course, a balloon drop, a scavenger hunt, and train rides, of course. Organizers say it is a fun way to learn about local history.
It's a chance to be part of history, but in a fun way. And I mean, who doesn't love a place where they can take their children, they end up with prizes, they end up with snacks, they take a train ride, and at the same time, they probably learn something.
It's a great place. Well, that's all for the news at 10. I'm Mary Bubala. Thank you so much for watching. Morgan Etzett and Rocco DeSangro join us now with Sports Unlimited. Morgan and Rocco.
Thank you, Mary. Coming up on Sports Unlimited, perfection in College Park. Maryland basketball wraps up Big Ten play with a 10-0 record at home.
National title winner on Gary Williams' staff at Maryland and former head coach at Loyola and Siena, Jimmy Patsos joins us in studio to break all things Terps on the heels of March. One topic is Kevin Willard, Big Ten Coach of the Year in his first season at Maryland.
The O's bats are off to a scorching hot start as spring training in the Sunshine State continues. Which players stood out in Game 2 against Detroit?
The Padres are expected to extend Manny Machado. Just how rich the former Bird will be and the contract's all-time status. Sports Unlimited starts after this.
What's going on? Welcome into Sports Unlimited. She's Morgan Hatzett. I'm Rocco DeSanger. There's no team better in the Big Ten at home than the Maryland Terrapins.
Yeah, the Terps in just Kevin Willard's first season go perfect at home in conference play, extending Maryland's Big Ten home winning streak to now 13 games. And Maryland, believe it or not, has a shot at winning the Big Ten with 2 games left. Maryland's final game in College Park this season against 21 Northwestern. The Terps don't lose at Xfinity in the Big Ten. Only 1 home loss all season back in non-conference play. Senior Day sellout. No one means more of that program than senior Jameer Young. Early first half, Young dropping and popping threes. Maryland was down, now with a 5-4 lead. Game tied at 6. Hakeem Hart getting it on the distance. Terps up 3. Northwestern has some range too. Chase Audrey 3. Wildcats back with the lead 16-14. But Maryland did it better today. Jameer Young, another triple. Maryland up 25-23. Don Carey's term, same result. Another three-pointer for Maryland. Game was tied. Terps up 30-27. Under 4 before halftime. Young taking it straight to the rim. 2 of his game-high 18 with authority. Maryland up 2 at the break. Second half, here comes that separation. Dante Scott, 3-ball. Terps up 48-43. Let's see another turtle hit from long range. Ian Martinez, 55-46. Maryland Terps 14 for 22 from beyond the arc. That's 64% from 3. That was better than their free throws and field goals today. Baltimore native Julian Reese bucket foul. Terps up 16. Reese dropped 12. Terps go 10-0 at home in Big Ten play. 75-59 the final, extending Maryland's home conference winning streak to now a record 13 straight.
So you just heard it. Home is where the heart is. Home is also where the Terps win a lot of their games. With a dub over Northwestern, Maryland basketball finished its Big Ten home slate with an undefeated record. 13 in a row dating back to last year. And while the job's not done, to do what Maryland did in one of the top conferences in college hoops is impressive, to say the least.
You know, going 10-0 in this conference at home is, you know, that's pretty impressive for this group. And I just think it shows you how great of a program this is, how great of a fan base it is. I think the fan base really got behind this group. I think they appreciated how hard they worked. hard they play. And the students have really turned out and just kind of made this place. I mean, I'll be honest, I just sit back every once in a while and just watch, because it's a fun place to play and a fun place to watch a game.
So the Terps finished the season 16-1 at home, with the lone loss of the year coming to UCLA. On the road is where this team really struggles. I don't know if it's jet lag or what, but away from Xfinity Center, Maryland is a dismal 2-7. 2 road games to close out the regular season heading into the Big Ten tourney. And Jameer Young is hoping Maryland can finish strong.
We have to bring the same energy. We have to have that urgency that we have at home, the defensive intensity, and really just embrace, it's going to go up and down. We're not going to have the crowd with this, so just being able to fight through it with each other, and just knowing that it's us versus everybody, and we're just really just trying to prove people wrong.
All right, while Maryland men's basketball is currently in a 4-way tie for second, the women's team will be the 3 seed in the conference tourney. The Terps, they have a nice double bye.
And joining us now to break down those Terps further, a friend of the show. You all know him, Jimmy Patsos. Great to see you. I know when Kevin Willard was hired, you were very high up on this, and you were telling us, listen, this is going to be great. This is a good hire. I like him. Now that we fast forward to almost the end of his first season, is he Big Ten Coach of the Year?
It was up between him and Chris Collins for Northwestern. Full disclosure, I work for Under Armour, so we won either way today. But Chris Collins really took the league by storm to come into second place. But Kevin Willard's caught him and then beat him today. So I would say it's Kevin Willard's. 2 big road games for the Terps coming up. At Ohio State, they're not having a great year, and Penn State's on the bubble. But what Kevin Willard has done, rejuvenating the fan base. Look, we all liked Mark Turgeon. He had some good wins, nothing wrong with that. But Kevin Willard has seemed to brought this fabric of reuniting the fan base. Everyone's excited. He's just done a lot of things besides winning. Winning matters, we know that. But he seems to have done a lot of little things, and they're all adding up.
Is it a surprise, a pleasant surprise, just how well that they have, especially the second half of the season, played?
It is. And I'm going to tell you, Julian Reese from St. Francis of Baltimore, young man that I know pretty well, he really turned. He didn't have a great December. He really turned it on and got better. Willard's made everybody a little better. He seems to get guys to do better at what their strength was. Jameer